How did your day session go?
I was like in first and like a bunch of stuff. I was like in second and third in the relay, and then I had Logan Webb to basically win the whole thing, and he had negative points.
Oh,
And I'm gonna come in like top 10 in a couple of things, but nothing major. And Houston's never gonna finish scoring, I don't think. Oh, they finally finished. They have 20 runs. And overall, I made a little bit. It was a fun sweat for a little while. But
yeah,
then,
that sucks. I'm sorry about the web thing. That was pretty bad.
yeah, it's all right. But what are you going to do this evening? I mean, it's like I basically forced stuff. I'm just going to tell you. I mean, I'll tell everybody what I did. I mean, I got a little bit under on DeGrom. I guess I don't know what under means. I have like 55% of him instead of 100. And what I did was I forced in the guys I said. Like I have some JD Brubaker. I did play some Patino. Oh, I got to get Alfaro out. I had him in some lineups.
Yeah,
some Freed. And then what I did with whatchamacallit, with the stacks is I did force in some Washington. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid, but whatever.
No, I think it actually makes reasonable sense. I am not finding myself needing so here's the thing. This time of year, this is more like, okay, so early in the season, I really think the fully stacking thing is potentially a leak. I really do in people's approach. But I think this time of year, you should be gearing towards stacks, but it's hard to do on a 5-man slate because you can differentiate so easily. The reason I say that is because you have teams, that jump on somebody that they're either going to leave the starting pitcher in longer and keep getting rocked, or they're going to bring in not their best relievers, and not every team's trying to win every game. They don't really care about it for the most part. But at the same time, everybody else is doing it. So it's beneficial sometimes on these small slates to not stack. So I'm sort of just running through this in my mind. What does all this mean to me? Like, what I mean? What am I going to do about this on this slate? And for me, I think that the answer is I still probably am going to end up mini stacking on this slate, especially if I'm going to be using players that are going to be pretty popular. But the San Diego thing is hard for me to ignore. And I could see it like one of those just obvious, okay, that's like a 10-run game. Like this total could be, whatever. But and the weirdest part is that the ownership, you can get different enough by playing either first baseman, I think in Drury or Bell. I think you can use Kim as a shortstop if you wanted to go full stack, but still you're probably not differentiating from everybody enough. The things I'm doing is I am going to be on both sides of the Barrios and the Yankees situation. I'm going to play some Barrios.
Nice.
And I'm also going to play some Yankees mini stacks. It doesn't make sense when you have a pitcher as volatile as this, that the Yankees, and they're going to be popular, but it doesn't almost make sense to me that they wouldn't be the most popular or you know what I'm saying? Like it has to meet in the middle. And the same thing goes for the Toronto side, where they're going to be low owned against Montas, who's an awesome pitcher, but hasn't found his groove. Neither of these guys have. I also want to bet on them at their prices at low ownership. So I'm going to, that's sort of my slate thing is that I'm going to be playing Barrios and Montas in different lineups. And I'm going to be playing Blue Jays and Yankees as my pieces. I also really think the most viable stack that I don't think is getting enough ownership, if you wanted to go the full stack route, would be Tampa Bay. Perfect example of a team that has nothing to play for in the Royals.
Right.
And if you get to the starting pitcher, you could end up seeing one of those 10, 15 run type of outings. So I really do think that would be a viable 5-man if you're going to go that route. I think that Washington, I think you can get pieces. I don't think you need to do a 5-man because you can get different with like playing a 3-man stack.
Right.
I don't think it's optimal to maybe play a 5-man for them. And the same thing with Boston, I think playing a 5-man would actually be fairly bad in my opinion. It's too high of ownership. It's a huge stadium downgrade. Most of these guys, if you look at their home road splits, are just absolutely absurd. They at least have something to play for. But I like the idea. Earlier, like I'm a lot of 3-3-2s. I like the Pittsburgh. Getting playing Reynolds and playing. I just accidentally closed my window with my stuff. But I like the idea of playing Reynolds, who will have some ownership, but then make it into a nice little 3-man stack, and you can use really anybody. And I don't think that's going to be too common. And I think they're getting well overlooked here. And Boston is sort of one of those teams in between really trying and not really trying. It almost feels like an NBA type of way we should approach some of these things. I don't think nobody's trying to lose, but if you're not really trying to win, you're going to go out there and, we have all these young guys who've been brought up and stuff like that. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of ways to go. So
I think I can buy into the Tampa thing.
I think that's the most viable of the 5-man. We can get it at fairly low ownership.
What about Pittsburgh?
I don't know about a 5-man.
Okay.
I feel like Boston's sort of in between, but I also feel like they're going to have a little more ownership than they're being projected for.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think you can get. I like it as a 3-man because I don't know how often is their power going to win you a slate. But at the same time, if you play Greg Allen at 2K, at Ben Gamble at 2,600, Brian Reynolds at 4,100, and then you basically do whatever else you want elsewhere, those guys are going to be low owned enough to where I think you can use that as a good complementary stack. But I still like the 3-3-2s, and they're going to be heavily targeted for me on Tampa, on the Yankees, on the Blue Jays. And then I'm going to play a couple pieces of San Diego probably in most of my lineups. And even if I have to eat a little bit of chalk, I think I can get different enough with some of this other stuff. I don't want to stack the Mets, but I think using any Mets bats are completely viable.
Yep.
And that's just the way I'm approaching it. I'm not quite doing the stack thing, and it could because of the size of the slate, but at the same time, it does keep sort of occurring to me. And you see it happen with Houston today. You see it happen with St. Louis today. Like teams are just gonna once it's 6-0, it may as well be 12-0 in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if Boston's down 6-0, or if the Yankees or Toronto are down 6-0, they're going to bring in their reasonable relievers. They still feel like they have a fighting chance, rather than bringing up some guy who may not be able to find the strike zone and hasn't pitched in the major leagues before.
Yeah, everybody just make sure you check your lineups for the Padres because there are guys that we thought might be playing that are not.
Yeah, and you've got Will Myers now as the super value play. That's why also Ben Gamble will get Ben Gamble will at the same price as Will Myers will get no ownership. And the matchup is about equal. Ben Gamble is a higher fantasy point producer, oddly enough, than Will Myers has been this season. So unless you're stacking San Diego, use Ben Gamble instead of Will Myers. There's right. One way to be different. There's just really simple little things you could do to make some changes. And Hunter Dozier would be another guy you could use in the same price range. Whereas Marcano is going to be popular-ish because he's 2K in the outfield. So instead of playing him, by the way, I really do want to play a ton of this Yankees. I'm just going to play this Cabrera kid as much as I can. He has some real power. What did he have? I think he had his last times in the minors. I think he had a 230 ISO, and he can steal too. That sounds good to me at 2K, and he also takes up one of the middle position, second base or shortstop on DraftKings. I'm in on that one, big time actually. So,
yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm into the Tampa idea.
Yeah, and that's one that could really that's the team that I what's weird about this though. That they don't score runs in the most pleasing ways, they don't have a ton of home runs. They've got Rosarena and Lowe who can both steal bases and run and hit home runs. But other than that, it's always hard for me with them on a big slates. But on these kind of slates, you're not going to need most likely, unless one of these offenses go off, that crazy performance. One of my highest owned first baseman right now is Ji-Man Choi, and he is projected to be 5% owned. Jose,
I have a decent amount of him actually.
Yeah, I like that. And Taylor Walls, this ownership can't be right. He's 2,600. He also takes up short. You play him in the Yankees shortstop. You play the Yankees guy Oswaldo at second base, and you play Taylor Walls at shortstop. You have the value, you have the money to spend, and you can sort of do whatever else you want. Like it's really not a constraint price wise on this slate. And I do think Oswaldo Cabrera will be popular, but Taylor Walls and Cabrera, that specific combination because of the crossover in positions, things like that are just like little things I like to look for on these slates. And I think they make like, so if I was playing a Tampa stack, I would probably put Cabrera at, no, I probably wouldn't actually, because I like Brandon Lau too much. But I would be trying to get a way to get those guys in my lineups and then sort of build around that using that value. Because I do think we want to play. I think it's probably wrong to not be at least near the field on DeGrom, especially given they need, I think this could be a DeGrom. If they told us, Sheets, that he's going to throw 95 pitches tonight, I don't know how we wouldn't make him like 90% owned. Or
well, that's what I have now. I'm back up to about that now. There's just no competition on the slate even. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And the only thing that could happen is that you could get a same score from a Montas or a Berrios.
Those are two good. Those are two good offenses, though, Bobby, aren't they?
They're good offenses. Well, are the Yankees a good offense? Let me ask you. What is that? What do they say in New York about the Yankees lately? Because they certainly haven't looked like a good offense. We already know there's strikeouts in that lineup.
Yeah, they haven't.
And we've seen the Yankees. I mean, they've been on the wrong. There's been a million times this year I've seen a 3%, 4% pitcher with 10 Ks against the Yankees.
Yeah, like Brady Singer and like all these.
Yeah, exactly. Brady Singer, for some reason, he only comes to play against the real teams. He dominated the Dodgers the other day, and he dominates the Yankees. Like he can't get anybody out for freaking Kansas City or something. I'm sorry, he is on Kansas City. He can't get anybody out for I don't know, against Pittsburgh or a team just a shitty team.
Right.
All right, let's see. Yeah, because I love the idea if you're going to play the San Diego, I think you kind of have to, like, I do think even if you're not stacking San Diego, playing Brandon Drury is one of the best plays in the slate. And I can't believe he's going to be as low owned as he is. This guy is a real, he's a real player. And he deserves a little more credit than maybe he's been given. But you look at the Yankees game. I just want to read you the Yankees lines. They had the 8 yesterday. They had the comeback and all that. Before that, you had 1 run, 0 runs, 0 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 0 runs. The previous games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there is definitely an opportunity for failure for the Yankees. So I'll take my shots. And at the same time, I'm saying that I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth because I do love the idea of just trying to go after Berrios and Montas. But at the same time, I'm going to be playing those two as my pitchers in any lineup where I have the other. So I'll play Berrios with my Blue Jays, and I'll play Montas with my Yankees.
Like O'Neill Cruz.
Yeah. I mean, he's been terrible lately, but I do like him. And by the way, who died and decided that we can't play players from Kansas City too? Like,
I know. I got enough of that.
that's the other one that they all sort of stand out like to me. So that's why I'm just getting little pieces here and there instead of just going, I'm going to build around this chalk. No, I'm going to get a lot of little 3-3-2s and pick my best spots here. What
are the Pittsburgh guys supposed to play? Reynolds, Gamble, Cruz, if you want to.
Reynolds, Gamble, Cruz. Well, Marcano will be the most popular because he's 2K in the outfield leading off.
Right.
I'm never a big fan of going after Kevin Newman, but you can use him at 3,100 if you're going to play a stack. He's not a guy you want to play as a one-off. And then, you could always use the minimum cost catcher or Castro, who Castro and Greg Allen probably a little bit better than, well, I don't know, better than they get credit for. They're not the absolute worst.
Right.
I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, Rich B asked if we're on DeGrom. It's really hard to not have a good portion of him, but I am playing some Fried, Berrios, Fried, Montas, Berrios, Patino, Fried, Patino. Mix it up a little bit. But I still think for the big buy-in, it's gonna be. I think if I had to play one lineup tonight, yeah, DeGrom would be in my lineup.
Right.
If I played 4, he would be in 1 probably. If I played 10, he'd be in 7. It's a weird thing with that.
Yeah.
Because you're playing with baseball, more than any other sport. I think you're playing a lot of game theory instead of actually betting on expected results.
Tampa, Pitt, Boston, San Diego, Washington. That's my order. Okay.
I love the Washington. I love the Washington idea. I didn't quite play enough lineups to get to pull the string on the big full stack, but we've seen Darvish blow. I mean, it's been a while. He's been great, but we've seen him blow up plenty of times.
Yep. 5-game slate,
Yep. Why not? All right. Anything else to cover before I'm just making sure I get these guys out of my lineups?
For those of you that didn't notice or don't care, or
oh my god, they
notice is the I posted the MMA video up for the weekend.
Beautiful.
That's up there.
How did your golf lineups look after day one?
They're still going. They're looking pretty good, actually.
Nice. I hope you get it all because I can't win. I can't compete with you for the million or whatever, the 300,000 this week.
Right.
Because I'm not playing. So
let me just see first of all, let me see what my baseball lineups look like first. Let me just make sure I have, I don't know if anybody not playing. I like this. So 40% of my first base exposure is between, okay, G-Man Choi. There's Josh Bell. Okay, Josh Bell makes sense. Dylan Mayhew. Okay. Voigt. Okay, that'll make sense.
I also think leaving money on the table on this slate is a really good idea.
Oh, I'm leaving a fortune on the table.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good idea.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I'll show you what. You know what? It's a good thing. It's a non-cut event. Let's put it that way. Also, let's see.
Oh my god! No, I'm really happy I didn't play. I didn't even realize it was I didn't get a chance to get to it. But.
Yeah, so this is the one bigger buy-in I played. I'll put up here, right here. So this is in fifth. This is including Rom with a +2 for the day.
Oh my god! That's the pray and don't pray.
McElroy had a triple on a par 3 to go from -6 to -3, but which is fine. You know what I mean? That's totally fine. It leaves Bradley atop, Varner in third. I still have a couple of holes to do a couple of more things with Cam Young. So this is off to a really, really nice start, to say the least.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You won't do the thing I did either, too. You're a lot better of a sport than I am. I would always be pissed off if I didn't have it in I didn't get it in the big 555 that I could win,
Right. Yeah, I didn't even. I think I was shut out of that by the time I noticed it. But this is 5-entry max. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can win this. I mean, the 555. What is it, like 37 entries? People could you put in that thing? I mean, like.
That would be nice to win it, though. I mean, what is it?
You know what? Just for fun, let me just see. Let me just see how I would have done. This is 180, 120. Let me pull that. Let me pull that one up. I am going to pull that up just for fun. Let's look at so golf, view live contests. Okay, so signature hole. Let's take a look.
Wow, you really use up your crowns, don't you?
Oh yeah.
You know how many crowns I have right now?
Look at the birdie monster. Look at all this guy's got first, second, and third. So this is 213, 212. And what was mine? Let me see.
Well, it looks pretty good to me, right? Jesus.
Yeah, mine was 181. Nice. Yeah, so I wouldn't have been really as competitive into that one.
Well, you don't know, though. It's a long ways to go.
Yeah, you don't know.
If it goes 1-2 Bradley and Varner, you might be pretty good.
Let's go. Rom. You know what? F you, Rom. But everybody's got him, so it's not really killing me that much.
And you just got to hope for the non-withdrawal thing.
No, but they got to make it to the final.
It's right, because it's the
they got points.
This would have been Kenny's good week. I'm going to check on Kenny because he does really well at these things.
Oh, really? I thought I always feel as though he's good with the guys no one's heard of. Everybody's heard of these guys.
No, he is, but he has a real good understanding for the points, and it sounds great to me because I'm like, of course they're going to go out there and try to win no matter what, and he's like, no, the points, and he always does well on these ones.
Let's see, McIlroy for birdie. McIlroy's really choked. I mean, he was -6 and moving, and then he went to a par 3, put it in the water, ended up with a triple.
A little Patton Kazire magic that killed
a little. There's a little bit of general in all of us.
Cost me that million. Jesus, that was, you know how painful that was, because he had to play both rounds the same day, and I'm watching on 17, and he's like tied for 4th at 5 under, and he ends up going 5 over on the 17th. And then he proceeds to make 5 birdies in the first 6 holes of the thing, and ends up 5 under again for like 9th. But he would have won it, and he was 0.2% owned. There was nobody else in the world who had him. Would have won me the million. Would have been me and you won too.
Yep. Well, Casey, that wasn't very nice of him on that last hole.
How many golfers played in this? 120?
70. No, just
70. It's only 70 because it's the cut down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was like leaving money on the table. I was doing all kinds of crazy nonsense.
It looks like it's working so far.
So far, so good. Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, I am going with the special tonight. Any lineup without DeGrom, even some with DeGrom, are going to have Travis d'Arnaud in it.
I like that. Well, what about? Excuse me. Well, what about that? Why can you play one lineup with d'Arnaud and DeGrom?
No problem with it. Yeah, I don't even mind it.
First of all, even if it doesn't work out, I mean, you're going to get probably 2 at-bats against no DeGrom.
That's right. You're getting at least 1, probably 2, and not to mention that. Hey, why am I? It's a 2,900 Travis d'Arnaud against a guy who he caught for years. Like, I'll take that chance.
And I don't care what I know. Shows what I know. I didn't know what you were talking about when you said d'Arnaud against this pitcher. I thought you meant that he was on the Mets and going against Fried. I didn't even realize.
No, because they used to be on the Mets together. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
d'Arnaud was there for years.
That's what happens. DraftKings, they never update the hat and the face, so I don't even know who's on what team anymore.
I don't even want a study to be done on that so much, because I believe it so strongly. Like, I don't care what anybody tells me. You can't tell me.
Right.
You can't tell me a guy you caught for years who's the #1 ace in the team, and you're there. And also, he was back then he was a platoon catcher too, so he would platoon and catch every DeGrom game. I'm going, okay. There's you can't tell me that's not some sort of an advantage. How could it not be?
Yep.
And in a small sample, of course, it's really impossible to measure. But like, I'll take that chance. Guess right once, and you look like a genius.
You know, in golf, who hits the ball really far? Cameron Young hits the ball really far.
Cam Young is going to be a top 10 golfer if he's in the next year or 2.
I mean, that guy just kills the ball.
He's really freaking good. He's really, really good. Somebody did something the other day on Twitter. I got to find it at some point. And guys who went, baseball players who went MAGA and had failed. The #1 one was Patrick Corbin. He went for the MAGA in 2016, and he was at the top of his career, one of the best pitchers, an all-star and everything.
Oh, really?
And he literally has gone off the rails completely since then. Like,
oh no!
It was funny, whichever side you're on. I don't know which, you obviously know which side I'm on, but I thought it was hilarious. I got to find that somewhere. All right. Yeah, this is I'm agreeing. I think the Tampa Bay thing is the way to go. I think that's the move. I feel really good about that one. Just please don't bring in a lefty early in the game and take my Choi out, because that Choi is in all of my he's in like most of my life.
Yeah.
Who was it today? How about that saying in that's a great example though in St. Louis, what they did today, of why guys like Billy Donovan, Brandon Donovan, whatever are bad plays, because they're up 6-0 with no outs and the bases are loaded in the second inning. They're up 6-0. No outs, bases loaded, second inning, and they bring in a lefty, and then immediately they take out Donovan, who's already 2 for 2, and they bring in Pujols, and he hits a grand slam. Like, I don't want to be on the other side of that one ever.
No.
Yeah. All right. I'm cool to just kill time and keep doing this, because I know it sucks, and this is the most chalky pick ever, but Trent Grisham is going to hit a home run today.
Trent Grisham?
Playing. He's like part of the San Diego. He's the biggest part that I'm eating of the chalk. I am playing Trent Grisham.
Yeah. I am actually going to go because I got someone coming over in a little bit. So I'm going to fly. Good luck, everybody. And
good luck, everybody. Do your thing.
Yep. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good, bud. Bye.